Hey everybody, DeLongshot Signatures here. I lied to you guys, and I am instead going to do my 2025 U.S. Nationals recap tonight. That way, after I get home from work tomorrow, I will be able to post some. Instagram will not let me post all of them in one day, but I will try to get caught up on Instagram over the next few days, posting everything between the U.S. Nationals, the Pedregon Open House, and the TTMs that have been rolling in that you guys are all caught up on. So in total for this weekend, it looks like, if I counted everything correctly, 208 autographs that either were signed in person or that I picked up along the way. There was some pre-signed stuff available at different areas. And then I also purchased some autographs. I think, I could be wrong, I think it's 20 that I purchased. Correction, 19. I don't know what I forgot to count in that because I'm pretty sure I bought enough. But it is what it is. We're going to start off with the purchased ones just to get these over with. There is a booth that was set up that takes donations and stuff like that, and then they sell the stuff that's donated to raise money for injured racers. I've bought from them before. They had some really good stuff in years past. This year it wasn't as good, but I was still able to add a few names or some items that I thought were kind of nice. They had a deal where if you bought 4 items, if you bought 3 items, you got the 4th one free with the hero cards. So we added a Jerry Tolliver, a Melanie Salemi. I'm pretty sure that's signed by her, and that it's like a pro modify. I don't know what it's supposed to say. I'm pretty sure that's signed by her. It's definitely an autograph, but it don't really look like her name. But I couldn't find any on eBay or anything to compare it to, so we'll just count it. Jay Payne. I might already have one autograph of his, but he is no longer racing. And that is a hero card I do not have. A Bruce Sarver. Got this Ron Capps. I may already have one, but I didn't recognize specifically this hero card, so I thought, for $5 it was worth it. Got a John Hale. Another one that I might already have, but again, it was worth it. I know I have this one. It's a Mike Neff hero card from his Old Spice days. It might be from his rookie season, but really like that one. We got a Lamar Swindle Jr. hero card. Freddie Camarena, who I believe still races. A Chip Ellis hero card. A Connie Cohen. A Chris Rivas, a Doug Horn. This one's kind of cool looking. I hadn't seen it before, but it's a signed Sean Langdon, and then J.R. Todd is on the other side. So it looks like one that was maybe given out for like a autograph signing, double-sided, so that they could just print one and have one design printed instead of having to, print 2 separate ones for each guy. A Tom Bradford. Jason Line. I don't think I have that hero card. A Matt Hagen. This one kind of looks familiar. I might have it. I might not. A Tony Pedregon that's signed sideways. And then a Bob Vandergriff, who retired from drag racing altogether just a few years ago. He had already retired as a driver and then suddenly retired as an owner as well. So he is no longer involved in drag racing, but his son Jordan is. So that is all of the purchased items that I got from that place. It should be a total of 20. I'll have to look back at the list and see what I did wrong as to why it didn't come out to that. Or I told them that I bought more than I actually did, and I'm stupid. That's always a possibility. There's this old drag racing book that I have. I think it was made in like 2010, and I got it as a kid, going to a local store that I don't believe is in business anymore. And I decided that I was going to take it to the Big Go event that they used to have here in town, at the town hall. And I got it signed by a bunch of drivers. A lot of them are multi-time champions, multi-time race winners. A lot of them are retired Hall of Famers. Started taking it to the U.S. Nationals itself. And I kind of retired the item because the binding on the book, the spine of it, is coming apart. So I don't want this book to get severely damaged. But I did bring it back this year to add a few signatures. I got the two main guys that I wanted, and then I added another guy because he was right there. But we got Austin Prock, champion, Gage Herrera, two-time champion, and then his teammate, Richard Gadsden of Vance and Hines Racing, who I think is second in points. So if it wasn't for Gage, that guy would be fighting for the championship each year. But Gage has just been so dominant that the rest of the field is really struggling to keep up. But that was the main multi-signed item. I do have some additional multi-signed hero cards that I'll share at the end. Otherwise, we're going to go in alphabetical order. I'll try to go through this as fast as possible, but I do have some stories, so don't be surprised if this lasts too long. But first, we've got two of these from Aaron Stanfield. That was one of last year's hero cards, and then this was this year's. Unfortunately, his silver was not going too well with that. Finally, I was able, right towards the end of today, able to add two of Alex Laughlin, or Laughlin, I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. I couldn't remember which one of these that I had signed, so I just went ahead and took both. He must have been driving at least two different cars, if not more. I believe he's filling in for Buddy Hull, who had injured his hand recently in Funny Car. I don't think they qualified. And I had seen him, I think, in a Pro Mod car. So this guy was constantly just driving around on a little scooter between the pits for the different rides that he was in. And finally, I saw him. I had to yell out his name. He stopped and I was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry to bother you. I got a couple photos. Would you be willing to sign them?" He was like, "Yeah, sure, not a problem." And he really liked them. So I'm glad I know for sure that both of them are done. But I'm pretty sure this one was the one I didn't get signed last year or the year before. I don't remember when I did all this. We got some from Alexis DeJoria. Had her hero cards out there. And this is over the span of Friday through Sunday, by the way. So some of these were gotten on different days, at different times, at different signings. There's just not time to share all the stories. We got three from Angel Sampé. So that was one that was handed out during the Mission Foods autograph session. She also had these, because I think she races Top Alcohol dragster. But these were also available at Antron's pit because she is a part of his team. And then speaking of Antron, we got several signed hero cards from him. He was part of, I think, just one signing that I attended. I didn't get to attend all the signings, but he was out at his pit a lot, and I was able to usually get him on two most of the times that I went up there. Otherwise, I was just grabbing one of his current hero cards and getting that signed. Got some from Austin Prock, who I believe qualified number 1 for the Nationals today. He was part of a couple signings. Went to his and Brittany's signing, and then he was part of the Funny Car All-Star Call-Out. We got one from Blake Alexander. He just so happened to be sitting there. I do have a custom photo for him. I don't know if I have that signed, but I didn't get a chance to see him again to ask to, try and get that one taken care of. But it is what it is. This guy is getting a lot tougher. Not sure why. He just doesn't really seem to like to stay at his pit. But I was able to get 2 from Bob Tasca at the Funny Car All-Star Call-Out. I hate the name of that. It's so many words. This was the one that I brought, and then he had a stack of these to go with the multi-driver item that was getting signed there. So I grabbed that off the top. Thankfully, it was already signed. Got one from Bobby Bodie, who finally has a new updated hero card. He was super nice about it. I waited for him to finish getting his parachutes put back together. I think I kind of scared him because I was standing there for a while. I was like, hey, Bobby, when you get a second? We got a bunch from Brittany Force, different, qualities on these. Sometimes she was signing super fast, just trying to get through everyone. And then other times, like this one's pretty good. Also brought some of my own from previous years. Finally got those done. I want to say she was at 2 of the signings that I went to, so I was able to get her there as well. So those came out great. We got one from Buddy Hull, who, like I said, I think he had injured his hand, but he was still around. He wasn't wearing a cast today, so he might be okay now for the rest of the season. Not sure what their plan is. They didn't have their hero cards out and available. I imagine, they just didn't have a lot printed. But he would go in and grab a small stack of them and sign them and hand them out as he was doing that. So got him once. Got some from Chad Green. He was out a few times, and I don't remember if he was at any of the signings. Got 2 from Chase Van Sant, and he liked that these were older ones. I unfortunately did not see him again to get the current hero card signed. Short story, and then I'll get to the next one. There were a number of autograph sessions that I was not aware of today going around, but there was a couple that I tried to make sure that I hit. I missed one of them, which really sucks, but not the end of the world. But I was learning about all these different autograph signings and planning in my head, like, how am I going to get to this one? What time do I need to get to this one? All this and that. So I was walking around waiting for an 11 o'clock one to start up, and then I hear these people on a stage talking, and they're like, and the Pro Mod autograph session is happening right in front of us getting started. And I was like, I've missed that every single year that I've come to this. I never remember to going to that. I see the line. I'm getting in line for this. I get in line and immediately have a nosebleed. I had a small one this morning, so I knew it was going to happen at some point. There's just no preventing it, unfortunately, for me. But I was like, you got to be kidding me now? I'm like, well, the line's pretty short, and, it just started. So, if I step away for a minute, get it to stop, clean my hands, I can do that and then take care of whatever I need to in the bathroom and whatnot. But this one was not terrible, but it was definitely more than what it usually is. So a big shout out to the people at the AstraZeneca Right to Breathe tent, because I went over there. I was like, do you guys have a paper towel or something by chance? And they took good care of me, talked with me, got me some ice, some paper towels, made sure that I was okay. And very, very nice people over there. So that wrapped up, got my hands washed off and everything. And I was like, please tell me that the Pro Mod autograph session didn't end. And I walked over, and they were still sitting there. There was no one else in line, but they were still sitting there about ready to wrap it up. And I was like, hey, sorry, could I just run through real quick? And so all the guys that had hero cards were kind enough to sign for me. So the first time ever, I was able to go through the Pro Mod autograph session. So one of those guys was Chip King. There were a couple other drivers there that didn't have hero cards. I don't know if they ran out or they just didn't have them and they were just signing whatever fans brought. But there were definitely just a few dudes sitting with Sharpies that I just kind of walked past. We got one from Chris Bostic. Interesting storyline here. Chris King, not specifically him, but a few drivers. He was at the 11 o'clock signing that I went to. for the AstraZeneca thing. And when he sat down, he had these with him, and he was starting to sign those. I'm like, well, that's not really what I want. So I pulled out one of the hero cards that I grabbed, and he was like, oh, you ended up getting one of those. He's like, yeah, I ran out. He ran out, I think, either Saturday night or this morning. And I was like, no way. He's like, yeah. He's like, I went through like over 1,000 of them just in, 2 days. And then he was telling one of the other drivers, he's like, yeah, I got a quote for what it would cost to get some more printed and delivered before the end of the day. And he was like, I ain't paying all that. So unfortunately, hero cards have gotten really expensive for the drivers and everything. And what's also funny about that too was because it was at the AstraZeneca thing, they were telling the drivers that like, this guy's first in line and he got into a fight earlier and had a bloody nose and everything. I didn't actually get into a fight. They were just giving me crap. But the drivers were like, are you good? You going to make it? Where's your black eye and everything? And they were just giving me some crap. But very, very nice experience. Again, big shout out to those people for helping me out. I did get one of Chris King's hero cards from last year. This was the first one I got signed because I thought it was exactly the same. And then I looked and I'm like, oh, there's an additional photo and there's some different parts moved around. So they are different, just slightly though. Got quite a few from Clay Milliken. I was hoping to see him today, but I did not. I know he was at his pit. I had seen him a couple times when he was working on his car. I'm sure he signed after he was done, but didn't end up getting any more from him today. But I think there's 4 or 5 there. Got 2 from Corey Reed. One of these, I think this one's from last year. And I was like, hey, can you sign this? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And he was like, oh, this is the one from last year. I really like it. Good to see. And then I grabbed one from this year. He didn't have like a normal metal stand that these are usually in. His were just straight out of the box, put on the ground. So I was like, I wish he had hero cards. And turned out he did. So I grabbed one and was able to get one signed today. Got a few from Cruz Pedregon, which most of these were at signings. He was one of the last autographs I got this weekend in the pits. And he was supposed to be part of the Funny Car All-Star Call-Out autograph session, but he had a crash. He actually had several crashes this weekend. So he was unable to attend, but he was really kind and pre-signed hero cards for everyone. So there's a couple smudgy bits on this, but it's not too bad. But as I was standing in line for that, they walked around and handed those out. And he was also at one of the DC Connector Dodge Display autograph sessions. So between the open house, TTMs, and this weekend, I got a bunch of these now. We got one from Dallas Glenn, who has been using the same hero card for like the past 3 or 4 years. So I wasn't super worried about trying to get him. Got some from Daniel Wilkerson. I got this year's. And then one of last year's hero cards signed. He was a lot more accessible this year. We got some from Dave Richards. He had some pre-signed ones. So I grabbed one of those. Got another one at his signing. Another one at his pit. And then I have a friend that works for his team. That guy used to work with me at my current job, and I guess he's family friends with Dave Richards, and they gave him the opportunity to go and work for the team, travel around, work on the clutch, drive the semi across country, and he took that opportunity. So got to talk to my old friend for a couple of days. Obviously, I did not try to interrupt him while he was working, but he was showing me some different parts of the car and everything. And as that was going on, before I left for the main talk that we had, he was like, "You want a piston or something?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great." And so he didn't grab a piston, but he grabbed a piston head that Dave Richards absolutely obliterated. And right then, Dave Richards pulled up, and so he signed it. So This is a practice run used, qualification run used, piston head from Dave Richards. And as you can see, it is just warped and demolished on the underside. So big shout out to my buddy Nick, who's working for him. Unfortunately, they did not qualify for the U.S. Nationals this year, so that really, really sucks to see. Would have liked them to have an opportunity to go for it. But, big shout out to Nick for, chatting it up and showing me some cool stuff and hooking me up with that cool piece from Dave Richards. Continuing on, we got a Derek Menholt from the Pro Mod signing. And then this guy was the first one at the Pro Mod signing. Not much of an autograph, but a really cool inscription. I guess he's from Russia, so he wrote, "From Russia with love, Dmitry Samorkov." But his autograph is literally just like 2 squiggles. So, hey, it's signed. I'll take it. I had said in my previous video, the TTM one, that I did not get this driver. I lied. I got him at a autograph signing on a couple of items, and then I was able to finally get him in the pit for the first time in years today. We got 3 from Doug Kalita. We got the current one, which I believe I just got one TTM as well, so now I've got a couple of those. And then I grabbed this one. I don't know if this is... Considering it's the Powerade Drag Racing Series, I don't think I already have this one. So that's nice. I did not realize this was a hero card until I saw her signing them. But she is a driver of all kinds and also like a fashion model, does commercials and stuff. She doesn't do this kind of thing all the time, so it's really cool to see this. But I thought it was... promotion that Hector Arana was doing for like some charity or something like that. But apparently he worked with this lady to help her, tune her bike and everything, and they made hero cards for her, and I was able to get one signed. So this is Destiny Spurlock. I don't know if it's supposed to be pronounced Destiny. It's DY. You can kind of see it at the top there. But these were hero cards. I was like, oh, that's cool. And so she signed that for me. We got one from Eric Latino. I think this is the first time I've ever gotten to meet him. We got some from Erica Enders. She was part of several signings, so I usually asked her for 2 whenever I went to those. And then she was at her pit quite a bit this year. So I got a number from her. These all turned out great. She's got a great autograph. Then we got good old Greg Anderson on several, a lot of this year's, and I think at the Mission Foods I got last year's signed as well. This girl is a lot more fan-friendly, more interaction this year. She was part of the Dodge signings, but then was also out of her signing out of her pit quite often, especially in the morning. So if you end up going to the race, right after they get the car out, she's usually pretty good about signing. But Ida Zetterstrom, and then this one I had her sign it on the back in gold, which came out okay. There's parts of it that bubbled pretty bad. But otherwise, it sticks pretty good, so that's good at least. But I thought, this side was also a pretty good side to have signed. But like I said, she was part of a couple different signings, and then I went to her pit a couple times. And then they had this one at one of the Dodge Display signings, and I hadn't seen it before, so really glad to get a different design sign there. Then we got Fast Jack Beckman. I think I only had last year's hero card extra because he's been such a good signer for me. They had these really cool U.S. Nationals design for the hero card, throwback design, because he is doing a throwback tribute to John Force himself. So a lot of people were getting these dual signed by John and Fast Jack. So got a couple of these signed by just Fast Jack. Then we got some from Jasmine Salinas, who had another nice hero card this year. She was part of a 10 o'clock signing from this morning, and despite me being second in line, her silver Sharpie was already dying. So that one didn't turn out the best, but oh, I guess I only got 2. Huh, I thought I got more. Then we got Jason Scruggs at the Pro Mod. Got some from Jeg Coughlin, including one from last year. I think I got him once each day. And then, oh, this is who I got a bunch of. Gianna Evaristo, sister of Jasmine Salinas. She liked that I had one of her older hero cards. And so I think these two were signed together in silver. And then she signed one in black. She signed another one in red. And then I got another one in silver. I just so happened to run into this guy, and then thankfully he was wearing his team shirt. Otherwise, I might not have recognized him. But he had recorded some sort of video, so I waited for him to do that. And as he walked around the corner, I was like, "Hey, Jim, you mind signing something for me?" He was like, "Absolutely." So we got Jim Campbell. I don't know if he's still driving, but he was definitely there. This guy was at the AstraZeneca tent for 2 days. So at one point he was signing, and he was like, "Hey, you want one?" I was like, "Sure, who are you?" And I looked, and I was like, "Oh, I've met you before." So we got Nitro Joe Morrison, who was also at the Pedregon open house. I have no idea where he was set up for his trailer. But he signed one for me, and then I went by later, and they had just a whole bunch of extra ones signed. So I was like, I'll take another. And then today, ran into him again, and I asked him, "Hey, is this where the 10 o'clock signing is at?" He was like, "Well, there's several signings." So he told me all the different ones that were going on. And then he told me about the 11 o'clock one that I also went to. And he was like, "But I can sign something for you now if you want." I was like, "Sure, why not?" And it was a different hero card. And then I attended the 11 o'clock. So I thanked him for telling me about all those, because I'm like, a lot of these weren't even posted. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure why that is." Then we got good old John Force. I had so many hero cards of him. I really could have just grabbed any of them. So I just kind of grabbed whatever was available. He's not as wanting to sign as he used to be when he was a driver. There was probably a little bit more pomp and circumstance to him when he was driving and everything. But now he's managing the team. Obviously, you know, he dealt with his traumatic brain injury. He's gotten older. He just doesn't move around as well as he used to. But he would still stop and sign from time to time, and then he would just kind of just leave. So he even admitted, he's like, "It's scribbled, but it is me." But most of these turned out pretty good. Here's one. I really love this design because it was the first year that I went to the drag races. So even though the signature didn't come out that great, it's still better than the very first John Force autograph that I ever got. That one was an abomination. He reached over like 2 people to sign that for me, and it did not turn out well. But I got that one, and that one's pretty good. This hero card was part of a large lot, and which is why I had so many of them signed. I think I already have this one that I sent out TTM. This one was definitely pinned up on a wall somewhere, so I don't really like that. But I got a whole bunch of free ones when I ordered just a few, so I was like, screw it. I'll get the good ones, the better looking ones signed. There were some that were completely trashed. Then we got a John Hall at the Mission Foods display. We're only like halfway through, so, you know, if you haven't made popcorn yet. This guy was filling in for Sean Reed, Jordan Vandergriff, who has raced before. I believe he was also on like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or something like that. But he insisted on signing on the back of the hero card because he wanted to sign something with his face on it. So all of these are signed back there. And then if Sean Reed was available, he was signing on the back too where he is. So Sean Reed's a bit kooky, but he's a really good guy. Then we got 3 from Josh Hart. He was similar to Buddy Hull in that he did not make his hero cards openly available, but when he was signing, he carried a stack around with him, and he signed those. At one point, he signed for a couple kids, and I walked up and I was like, "Hey, can I have you sign this one?" He's like, "Oh, that's from last year." He's like, "Do you want one from this year?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to say no." So I said yes. So that's how I ended up with an extra from this year. Then we got J.R. Gray, and had I not had a nosebleed, I would have been more prepared for this, because I have an older J.R. Gray that I would have loved to have gotten signed. But it is what it is. Then we got J.R. Todd. I did get him once at his pit for 2, and then 2 of them at the Mission Foods signing. So that one was the Mission Foods. This one was at his pit. I don't know. He was running with a regular Sharpie, so it must be the design of the hero card, but that bubbled a lot. But the current hero card turned out really good, both times. Then we got 3 from Julie Natas, who was running in Funny Car this weekend. I think she qualified. I could be wrong, but one was at the 10 o'clock signing this morning with Kroger, and the other 2 were at her pits. All previous years that I have gone and tried to get Julie, never saw her, nothing. She wasn't part of any signings. And then this year, I now have a whole bunch of autographs of her. So thankfully, that has turned around. Then we got some from Justin Ashley. This is probably the longest signature I've ever seen him give, because someone kept interrupting him. And so he just kept signing Justin for as long as possible, and then basically just threw a giant circle on it. So not the best looking autograph there. This one's more like what we're used to seeing. And we got one that was in silver at the Skag Racing hero card session, or autograph session. And we got a Justin Bond from the Pro Mods. We got 2 from Justin Schriefer. I got both of them today. I thought I got the other one yesterday. That's how forgetful my memory has been, that I forgot that I got the same guy twice in the same day. Then we got some from Kelly Klontz. I think it's just 2. Those were both gotten on the same day. I brought these hero cards. Well, I only got one of them signed, but I brought 2 hero cards for this guy. Didn't end up getting the other one signed. Thought I would see him more, but I don't think he's running a team anymore. But he was at the track, so thankfully I was able to get Larry Dixon. He was driving around on his cart, and he got stopped because there was a whole big group of people. So I pulled this out, and I was like, "Larry, do you have a second?" He's like, "I guess I'm not going anywhere." And then he saw it. He's like, "Man, his hero card's older than you are." I don't think it's that old. I'm not that young, but he was happy to sign that. Then at the Dodge display, DC Direct, whatever they call it, Leah Pruitt was there. So same hero card that she was doing last year, saying thanks for supporting her as she enjoys motherhood. Then we got one from Lex June, who signed in gold. I just swore I had another one of these. I'll have to look through again. I've probably misplaced so much stuff. Who knows? Then we got 2 from next year Nitro driver, Maddie Gordon. She had her own autograph session at the Carlisle Tool display. They just had it written on a little whiteboard, and then I got there about 5 minutes early. She was already there, and I was like, "Is it cool to ask you now?" She's like, "Sure, no one else is here." So I pulled out this one. She was like, "Oh, you got the one from last year." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Did you grab it from here?" I'm like, "I did." She's like, "That's so cool." So she signed that, and then she gave me one from this year. But she's doing Top Alcohol Funny Car this year and should be jumping up to Nitro with Ron Capps Motorsports next year. Continuing with something that I had said earlier about hero cards running out, this guy was surprised that I had one. Matt Cummings, I think. Cummins? I don't know how it's... I couldn't see the name anywhere else on here. But finally, I realized who he was, because I thought I had seen him a couple times, but I don't really know the face. I've never met him before. And then finally, he was putting up his parachute, and I was like, hey, when you get a second, he's like, yeah, sure, just hold on. And he came over, and he was like, oh, you got yourself one of those. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, we ran out of those yesterday. I was like, yeah, that's when I grabbed one. He's like, well, it's a good thing you did, because I haven't been able to really sign for too many people. I was like, well, you're not the only one. Chris King also ran out. He was like, yeah, we don't really make a whole lot. Then we got quite a few, and I'm really glad, because I think I got all of the ones that I needed done from Matt Hagen. He was really good at the different autograph signings. Although he was supposed to do one at the Tony Stewart merchandise trailer, and I never saw him go by there, because I stood by for a while. I thought maybe it got pushed back by a few minutes, maybe qualifying ran a little bit later, but I never saw him. But regardless, he was out and about enough signing to where I was able to get all of these different ones signed. He liked this one. So yeah, a bunch of those. Then we got 2 from Matt Hartford, who I swear spends more time in everyone else's pit than he does his own. And when he's in his own, I don't bother him, because he's almost always like working on the car from the inside. But for once, he was actually standing there and wasn't busy working on a vehicle. And so I was like, hey, is it okay if I ask you for 2? He's like, absolutely. Got this one to start another project for future years at the Mission Foods signing of Matt Smith. He and his wife Angie often, or pretty much every year anymore, do a dual hero card with both of them on it, and I almost always get it signed by one or the other, although this year I was able to complete a few. Then we got 2 from Randy Meyer, top alcohol dragster driver, McKenna Bold. She's from Canada, and I asked her, said on her hero card that she likes hockey. I was like, you got a favorite team? She's like, well, I still play hockey. She's like, I played it up until I went to college. She's like, I still do beer league every once in a while. She's like, but I'm a big Pittsburgh Penguins fan because of Sidney Crosby, and then she's from Alberta, so she's also an Edmonton Oilers fan. Got Mike Jarvis from the Pro Mod session, Mike Stav from the Pro Mod. Got 2 from Paul Lee. Didn't see him very much. I was trying to get him at the Princess Lemonade stand that was set up in front of Torrance Racing, but he was busy talking with someone and drinking lemonade, so I wasn't going to bother him then. Watched him put his parachutes back together once, and then he didn't come back out, and then watched him do it again, and then that time he signed, and he was happy to see an old hero card. We got a few from Ron Capps. The only thing that was disappointing was I missed one of the signings that he was at, and they had a Carlisle Tools hero card. And I'm so used to seeing him in the Napa. The only time I've ever seen him do anything different, really, was when he was doing the Don Prudhomme. Some of those autographs did not come out great. Scheme for a couple years. But this year he was driving a green car, which was weird to see. But it was a nice design. But I didn't see those available anywhere else, so I'll probably have to just buy one of those off of eBay. Meant to look up this guy's name before. Even after all these years of meeting him, I still don't know how it's pronounced. Ryan Eller? I don't know. Then I was able to get 3 from Sean. Maybe it's 4. I think it's just 3. From Sean Langdon. His hero card, we'll go ahead and do this year's, is slightly different from last year's. So you might look at it and be like, what's the difference? They're exactly the same. The cars are slightly different, but everything else is virtually the same. So I'm glad I noticed that, because I screwed up the first time. And I saw him walking from his pit down to the staging area, and he kind of went the back way, so I went around, and then I had to basically like speed walk to catch up to him. And I was like, hey, Sean, you got a sec? He's like, yeah, sure. So he signed this one. I looked down, I was like, oh, crap, that was last year's. But then he was actually out in his pit, which I didn't see him do that the entire weekend until today. And that's even after breaking a U.S. Nationals qualifying speed run record. First ever driver to hit 340 plus miles per hour at the U.S. Nationals during, I think, his Q4 or Q5 run. But I told him congratulations on that run. That was sick. And he was like, thank you. So got 2 more of those signed when he actually was at his pit. Then we got one specifically from Sean Reed. I pulled it out. He was ready to turn it back over. He's like, oh, this one's last year. This one's just me. And he was kind of happy to see that. I think he lost a finger due to an injury sustained while driving and crashing. So he's been dealing with that, and that is why Jordan Vandergriff is driving his car right now. New name for the collection, Spencer Hyde. Got him at the 11 o'clock signing, and I wanted to make sure I went to that signing specifically for him because I did not have his autograph. And then later, he was out at his pit signing. I was like, cool. Took me forever to finally get your autograph, and now it's super easy to get you. Nah, it is what it is. Another new name here, Stephen Bell for Pro Stock. I had seen him a couple times, thought he was Greg Stanfield. Thankfully, I didn't ask then. And then finally, he was standing by his pit. I picked it up, turned it over, looked. I'm like, okay, this is Stephen Bell. And then he was cool enough to sign. We got Steve Torrance, finally. For some reason, he never shows up at his pit. But saw him twice today. So I got 3 hero cards signed. Then we got a Stevie Jackson from the Pro Mod session. Tim Wilkerson signed all of the hero cards that I brought this weekend. A bunch of these are from an eBay purchase I made. So finally got those done. He was happy to be recognized. This guy used to be out all the time, and for whatever reason, I was only able to get him at the sit-down signing at 11 o'clock today, until he was the last person that I met before I left today. So TJ Zizzo, and then this is the one I got. The last autograph I got for this year would have been John Force, but then I ran into TJ Zizzo, and I was like, screw it. I'll take another autograph. Then we got some from the Sarge, Tony Schumacher, who loved seeing the old designs, but I loved getting the new hero cards. So he has not been racing this season, but Rick Ware Racing partnered with him to give him a ride for the U.S. Nationals, and I really liked this hero card. It's a cool design. And then the one that most of you have probably been waiting for, and I didn't realize I had gotten as many autographs as I did, but I will not complain. This turned out great this year. We got a bunch from Tony Stewart. He gave out pretty good autographs for the most part. So his design this year is pretty dark, but still came out pretty good. I got one of his hero cards from last year signed. Got another one of this year's hero card. So I got 2 of these. And then at the Dodge signings, they said maximum of 2 items. So I would get the hero card and a trading card. And then I was able to get 2 more trading cards at his pit. So he is a lot better about signing between rounds. He didn't do it every round, but he did it more and at the end of the day. But I got an upgrade on this Race Kings. I had gotten one signed last year in the rain, and he had a bad marker, and then he smudged it, and then I tried to cover it so it didn't get, hit by the rain, and it smeared the crap out of it. So I finally got an upgrade for that. We got a Smoke, Don Russ, nicknames. We got this Prism card. That one was probably the worst autograph that he gave. He didn't seem to be in the mood for it. And then this Race Kings turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Almost done here. We got one from Travis Shoemake, who was at the 10 o'clock signing this morning with Kroger. He wasn't handing out hero cards, but it's a nice looking one. We got 2 from Troy Coughlin. So he liked this hero card. He said he loved the White Castle's sponsorship that they had. And then I think this is another older one, because I only got to see him once. I saw him a bunch of times. Also, I'm stupid. This one got thrown out of order. I got another Tony Stewart one. So I don't know how many times I met him. So that is all of the single signed items. Don't worry, there's not much left. We got a few multi-signed items. So this one, as I prefaced earlier, was for one driver, but a lot of people were getting it signed by two. We got a Fast Jack and John Force. I think John Force was going to start riding like 16-time champion and then just kind of gave up, but the signature turned out pretty decent, and Fast Jack always signs the same way. I got 4, count them 4, even though it's only 2 different years, of these Smith Racing hero cards finished. So I can tell which ones were signed by Angie this year and which ones were signed by Matt, because Matt smeared the 2 autographs that he signed. So this one was signed by Angie this year. This one was signed by Matt. You can tell because it just goes in every direction. This one was signed by Angie. And then this one was signed by Matt. I don't know. They kind of seem a little like they don't want to sign, but they're still cool enough to sign. I don't know what it is. But regardless, those ones are finally done. I didn't have any dual signed ones before, but now I finally have them. And then I had 2 of these just because I thought they were cool and they were the only 2 I had for these guys. And then I was dumb. I got one of them signed at the Mission Foods, but the other driver wasn't there. And then I thought I finished it off when I got the other guy at the pit. Turns out I grabbed the other one. So I had to go back and get both of them to complete the other one. So now I've got 2 of these duels of Richard Gadsden and Gage Herrera. But both of them were super cool with signing. And I can tell that Richard Gadsden much prefers these because when I brought that to the Mission Foods, he had the posters and, he was signing it and having to roll it up for everyone. And then I pulled that out. I was like, hey, can I have you sign this? He's like, oh, you got one of the good ones. So that was nice. And then someone else had asked him after he had signed it another time, where did he get one of those? And he was like, we have small ones available from time to time, just not as much as we would like. So I don't think he's a big fan of the posters. Final item here for this almost 50-minute video, fantastic recap, is the Funny Car All-Star Call-Out multi-signed hero card. The only issue was that Cruz was not available for this. And then I did not see him at his pit all weekend until the very end of today. And I had already taken this back to my car. Stuff was very heavy. I have a lot of hero cards. I got a lot more hero cards, and I was getting hero cards at these signings. I had my book. I had stuff to protect the hero cards. I had drinks. I had, sunscreen. I had the piston head at one point. So I made a couple trips back out to my car to drop some stuff off. And unfortunately, I dropped this one off. And so when I saw that Cruz was signing at the end of the day, I was like, I have to get this completed. And I didn't. So hopefully he's still racing next year. Even if he's not, I'm hoping he does his open house again. This will be the item that I'm bringing to get it finished off because it's signed by 7 of the other guys. They did it pretty smart this year to prevent people from getting multiples, like me, like I did last year. They separated the drivers out into 2 driver tables. So instead of being one long line, passing it down, and then there being a big old stack and people just taking a whole bunch of them, you would get it signed by the 2 drivers, pick it up, take it to the next table, and do that. But cool little thing that they do there. I don't really pay attention to all of the extra stuff that they do for the weekends and whatnot. I just mainly focus on who's winning the U.S. Nationals, who's winning races, and who's winning championships. But that is it for this year. Again, over 200 autographs, 20 purchased, almost 210 in person, bunch of hero cards. And while this might be the end for you guys of having to deal with watching this whole thing, it is not the end for me. I still got to post this on Instagram. And then I got to find a spot to put all these hero cards. I've already got so many binders dedicated to it, and I'm not going to be shocked if I'm going to have to put in more. But it's a good problem to have. Love going to this event. I tell you guys every single year, if you get a chance to go to one of these races, do so. Some of them I hear are a little bit better than others, as far as like the track layout and everything. But for me, this is the main thing that I look forward to each year, just because of how accessible the drivers are, how much stuff is handed out. I mean, I got, drink koozies and stickers and crap that I'm never going to look at again. I have 2 bags of chips. I don't know when I'm going to eat them. They hand out all kinds of stuff. It's not one of the biggest sports in the world, unfortunately. Lots of sponsorship money's been lost over the past few years, but with the inclusion of people like Tony Stewart, money's starting to go back into the sport. Tickets are expensive. I will admit that it is kind of sucks, but overall, very much worth it in my opinion, because every ticket is a pit pass, and all of this was free, other than my ticket, and the stuff that I bought, like the cards and stuff off of eBay, but that doesn't count. But very awesome weekend. Very happy to do this again. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm already looking forward to next year. But that is it for this one. I have rambled on long enough. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Best of luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.